Good day, everyone. I'm Maria Evern Joy Ruyeras, together with my group mates, Christian Jana Respito, Rose Maris Revilla, and James Lubguban. We are the group 3.
What is peace? Peace is a concept of societal friendship and harmony in the absence of hostility and violence. In a social sense, peace is commonly used to mean a lack of conflict and freedom from fear of violence between individuals or groups. Our lesson for today is becoming instrument of peace. At the end of the lesson, the student must able to demonstrate awareness in the practice of discipline, develop strategies in classroom meditation. Third is the practice mindful living and peace of mind. Take a look with these two paintings. Which one is the best described about inner peace? From the two paintings, this one is the best described of inner peace. The reason is, one of these trees has a small nest on one of its branch, in which bird is sitting with her young children. They are sitting very peacefully, and the mother bird is feeding her birdie. There is a storm everywhere. It is raining heavily. There is a lighting in the sky. There is a havoc everywhere. And such a situation, children are sitting peacefully in their nest, and there cannot be any better depiction of inner peace than this painting. If we see our lives, we will find that most of the people think that peace is in condition, places, or circumstances. But in fact, peace is not somewhere outside, but it is within yourself. If your mind is not calm, it is filled with worries, then wherever you will go, you will feel disturbed. Because inner peace is not found by attempting to escape from life, but found by facing life and solving its problem. If you cannot find peace within yourself, you will never find it anywhere else. Therefore, find your inner peace within yourself, and once you find it, allow your inner peace to rest within you. Patricia Misch explains that the transformation that we should seek should not only be the transformation of our society, but also the transformation of our spirit, because the inner transformation inspires the outer work. She concludes that the inner and outer transformations are inseparable parts of one whole. Peace as resolution of inner conflict. At the superficial level of mind, inner peace can be experienced through resolution of psychological conflict. Conflicts can be either external or internal. In fact, most of our conflicts are internal. Examples within ourselves. Various psychologists have described the nature of inner conflict. According to Sigmund Freud, the mind is a battlefield where the life instinct is in conflict with the death instinct, and the clashes with superconsciousness and soon. Further, Kurt Lewin showed that we have three basic types of inner conflicts. They are approach conflict, avoidant conflicts, and the last but not the least, negative conflict. Approach conflict. In this type of conflict, a person is caught in between two equally attractive objectives, out of which we can select only one. An example would be the choice between two equally attractive jobs. Avoidance conflict. Here, the person tries to avoid two equally undesirable objectives, where he is forced by circumstances to select one other than selecting one. Say that a person gets two jobs, which are equally unattractive, but under the circumstances, he is pressed to select one. Approach negative conflict. In this type, a person is both attracted and repulsed by the same objective. He wants something for a certain reason, and at the same time, he does not want it for some other reason.
Eric Erickson postulates that man's psychological growth results from the healthy resolutions of inner conflicts. According to him, in each growth stage, man is confronted with a basic psychological conflict. Inability to resolve that inner conflict blocks his further growth and even leads to pervasive behavior. Self-knowledge. To resolve one's inner problems, first of all, one has to learn to look within and observe how the mind works. The problems distressing the mind have to be perceived and understood. The more you understand yourself, the more you mature psychologically. So you need to understand yourself in order to resolve your problem in yourself. After you understand yourself, we need spiritual needs. We do not mean here being religious in the conventional sense. Peace in one's life arises from the deep human spirit that underlies all faiths. Peace education deals with the depth of human mind. We mean that essence rooted in man, which seeks for fulfillment through expressing and experiencing goodness in the highest degree. It drives us to do good, be kind, search for the true meaning, and values lying deep within us. Self-image. It is also a construct of imagination. It is how one imagines one's own self. Once a self-image is built, the person tries to live up to it, whether it is negative or positive. Teachers have to help children to build positive self-images, not only by right appraisals but also by encouraging, providing stimulation and opportunities to express themselves. Through meditations, soul-appealing and meaningful imaginary experiences could be evoked in children using their natural senses of wonder, curiosity, and beauty. Meditation in the conventional sense is an act of awakening to reality or truth. But children have come to reality walking through the veil of imagination. For them, it is the stepping stone to attain reality. Various forms of meditation for children could be developed to use in the classroom as educational tools.
And now, let us proceed to resolve conflict non-violently. According to Helena Cornelius and Shoshana Fair, that being willing to resolve a problem does not mean you are not right. It means you give up making the other person wrong by wiping the slate clean and make a fresh start with each other. So it means that when there is conflict, it is important to understand how to navigate and resolve it. But when conflict is resolved in a healthy way, it increases your understanding of the other person, builds trust, and strengthens your relationships. What is conflict? We all know that conflict is everywhere. It is part of life. In fact, it is on the increase in our time. This is because of the increasing individual differences and diversification of the society. Meaning to say that there is disagreement between people with opposing opinions. On the other hand, competition in economic, political, and other fields is intensifying. With the increasing population, physical space and resources are getting restricted. In such a background, we have to learn how to live amidst conflict, handle and resolve them constructively. This theme concentrates on educating children in conflict resolution. For example, consider a farmer's market where each vendor sells the same type of jam. There is little differentiation between each of their products as they use the same recipe and they each sell them at an equal price. So what is a conflict? First, we had a difference of opinion. Meaning to say, when you disagree with someone, you have a difference of opinion because you and the other person have different interests, values, needs, and intentions. Next, a clash of wants, meaning to say, conflict is a clash of interests, values, actions, views, or directions. People disagree because they see things deficiently, want different things, have thinking styles which encourage them to disagree. Third, a situation that arises from disagreement, meaning to say, it occurs when people disagree over their values, motivations, perceptions, ideas, or desires. Fourth, between two persons or several persons. It means that poor communication resulted in a mistake. Fifth, a broken relationship, meaning to say, the root of the conflict might be something like a difference of opinion, experience, taste, perspective, personality, or beliefs. And lastly, a vicious competition against one another. For example, being obsessed with the idea of winning is a sign of unhealthy competition. There are some causes why do people get into conflicts. First, commodities at stake, such as object, land, and money. Second, opportunities at stake, such as opportunity for gain or privileges. Next, principles and values at stake, such as religious beliefs, ideologies, and cultural values. Next, territory at stake, such as house, land, physical space, road, status. And lastly, relationship at stake, such as trust, promise, personality clashes. According to Ruth Stinger 1967, defines conflict as a situation in which two or more human beings desire goals to which they perceive as being obtainable by one or the other but not both. According to the definition, a conflict is made of three components. They are: first, we have situations where the conflicting parties view each other as competitors or having mutually competitive interests or wants. Next, attitudes, such as leading to hostility and frustration. And lastly, dislike, threatening, descriptive, egoistic, opposing, and withdrawing acts. Do you know that we have a constructive approach to conflict resolution? These are the following. First, you should control your negative emotions. Second, you should listen actively. Third, you should speak efficiently. Fourth, you should deal with others as a person with a problem, need, and human reaction. Fifth, you should face the issue directly and precisely. 7. You should separate the problem from the person and adopt a problem-solving approach. 8. You should show understanding and be understood. 9. You should be willing to change your position in face of facts and reason. 10. You should use a sense of humor. 11. You should generate alternative acceptable to both you and other person. 13. You should speak to the point. 14. You should use interpersonal skills. And lastly, you should be persistent.
So here are the steps in conflict resolution. Our general tendency when confronted with a conflict is to attempt to win by defeating the other. This pushes the other person also to adopt the same approach. As a consequence, a destructive competition emerges out of the situation. There are 4 possible solutions to any conflict. Let's name the two parties in a conflict as A and B. The possibilities are:
as you can see in the table, we have 2 possibilities, either win or defeat. We all know that there are 3 basic stages in a conflict. We have confrontation, negotiation, and implementation.
First is the confrontation. It is the stage when the difference surfaces. As a consequence, the parties feel disturbed and are even threatened in their position.
First, define the problem in terms of needs of the people involved. In this context, it's important to know the meaning of the word need. At the core of any conflict lie the needs of the conflicting parties. In fact, a conflict is a 2 or more sets of needs pulling in different directions. Whenever a person finds that his need threatened, the natural reaction is to be defensive. Fear is inbuilt in defense. Thus, need and fear go together. Second, agree with the definition of the problem with the other party, meaning to say a conflict cannot be resolved unless the parties come to a common definition of the problem. For instance, they should agree to what the exact problem is. For example, in a conflict with someone, I say one thing and the other says another thing as to what the other conflict is. Then we cannot solve it. The situation is obvious in any ongoing conflict around you.
Negotiation is the process of reaching a common and fair agreement on a solution to a problem affecting two or more parties. Active listening is an important skill in negotiation. Active listening involves giving your full attention to what the other person is saying, feeding back, encouraging deeper probing, supporting the other person's attempt to find solutions, and summarizing what is said. Number 3. Brainstorm possible solutions for both. Find with the other the alternative solution extensively to the problem. Don't get fixed to your position, demanding the only way you want to solve the conflict. Take away the other person also from his fixed position by exploration of alternative solutions, which are agreeable to both parties. Number 4. Select the best solution for both. Taking the alternative solution one by one, which the parties can evaluate them, eliminating those that they consider unacceptable. The evaluation of alternatives goes until they come to one alternative most agreeable to both. Implementation is the final stage. Number 5. Implement solution. This means planning, setting agreed time target, and acting according to the agreed term of the solution. Number 6. Evaluate implementation. Find out how it works practice and how people feel about the solution. Perhaps the parties may need some adjustment as the implementation takes place and the original problem might change. However, if the parties are not satisfied as things go, they are restart negotiation. Conflicts at home. Jealousies among the brothers and sisters by comparing with each other and what they get from parents, problems of equal treatment, privileges, and personal rights, problems arising from carrying out their responsibilities, inability to deal with anger, negative comments, violence, deprivation of freedom to play, meet friends, and express oneself, deprivation of parents' love, deprivation of physiological needs, food, proper shelter, owing to all income, problems with older brothers or bigger kids in the neighborhood, drunkenness of father disturbing peace and at home, instance of child abuse, severe punishment, separation of parents, false accusation, conflicts in school, name calling, being snubbed or being teased, false accusations, fear of being unprepared, not having a pencil, not ready with homework, not having read the lesson, misunderstanding by teachers, negative remarks by teachers, being cheated by a peer, being deprived of opportunity to participate in activities that the child likes, inability to buy things that the school requests, sociological problems, anger, low energy, inclusion by peers.